It was a brutally bitter, cold, and long winter here in Nebraska. Our little pond in the middle of the country, Branched Oak Lake, where we boat and sail in warmer weather, had iced over from late fall, no melt-off in sight. This just added to the misery of this endless winter of unbearable cold and wind. By pure luck, we had planned some months before a trip to warmer climes. We had chartered a sailboat for the Caribbean, the Virgin Islands, where we had sailed before. That winter, a month before we were to leave, the crew met to plan our routes, provisions, cabin assignments, and other details of the journey.
Oh my goodness!
Tim is doing a video.
Two of our crew members, the freshly retired and now full-time festive John and Bonnie, could not attend this meeting because they were already on a trip and would join us later in the islands.
Painkillers.
Oh, you know what?
You got your first
What
aid
is that?
comes from Soggy Dollar Bar.
Cheers, honey.
Cheers.
Cheers,
What should we do now?
Don't you know your lines?
Welcome to the islands. I can't carry it either. Okay, there you go. Now you can carry.
Thanks. Hi, Doug.
I'll switch with you.
Hey, you're supposed to get
I
late.
don't think we have enough alcohol here.
I know.
Hi, Timo.
I'm good. How are you?
Okay,
Good
good.
to see you. Smile, you're on candid camera.
I know I am.
Sorry.
To vacation.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Our friends Archie and Kathy attended for a show of solidarity, even though they were not able to go on this trip.
We decided this time we wanted to push our limits a bit, get out of our sailing comfort zone, and doing an open ocean sail was just the thing. Usually sailing in the Virgin Islands, you are safely close to land, but we wanted to explore the largest Virgin Island, St. Croix, 40 miles of open blue water to the south. Because of the distance and dangers involved, most charterers can't go there. In fact, we had a difficult time finding a charter company that would let us go there. But fortunately, being a prior moorings captain got us the boat to get there.
The reason we didn't want Scarborough.
All right, so I called
I
St.
didn't know
Croix
if you noticed
Marina.
that.
In his head.
I'm just
There are some mooring balls
There's a
available north
possibility. I
of
just want to
Marina.
point that out.
This open ocean passage probably wouldn't be a big deal to most sailors, but to us landlocked small lake prairie sailors, we might as well have been crossing the whole Atlantic.
For St. Croix, Anegada, or the open ocean, I want to establish a threshold where we just say no. And then we can just say no, because then we don't have to think about it.
Okay, what would you
Okay.
suggest?
Well, what I think is,
Hurricane.
Oh my God! You're worse than him!
What? Really?
Yeah, let's work from the top
Force
down.
what?
You know,
Force what?
okay,
What, force
here's
five?
here's what
Do you
I
have five?
here's what I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
7-foot waves, no more than 7-foot waves, and 30 knots of wind.
Oh, you guys aren't any fun.
That sounds good.
Are limiting the use of water.
Tim, you might need to tell Tammy and I and Barry, you know.
To take a shower.
Yeah.
Be careful with the boat heads. Don't overload them. Not too much toilet
And-
paper.
Well, once,
Yeah.
we're not putting
Lori
any
just
toilet
said
paper.
is they don't put any toilet paper.
That's probably a good idea. Poop on shore if you can. And
Or over,
I live with
You
them.
hear
Or
that
over the
did you
boat.
earlier?
When God talks to you,
I didn't poop the
it's-
whole time I was there.
okay.
Okay, is everybody happier now?
Yeah.
Finally, the time had come to leave the cold weather of the north and our glacial, iced-in lake and head south to the islands. And in the warmth is where our story continues.
It was totally amazing. You can have a hassle-free, no late planes vacation to the Virgin Islands. It is possible. However, the fast ferry ride from Charlotte Amalie to Road Town was in a totally enclosed ferry. And I think the crew was trying to set a speed record in 10-foot seas. What I really think they were trying to do was see how many people they could get seasick. Well, it worked on me. I puked my guts out. Mark Twain was right what he said about seasickness. At first you're so sick you're afraid you'll die, and then you're so sick you're afraid you won't die. Well, I didn't die. We got through customs okay, and finally arrived at the moorings base, and I wrote for the week, a 48-foot catamaran.
First night on the boat. What do you think?
Well,
Not too bad, huh?
all right.
Oh Lord, this is gonna be a long movie.
Yeah. Coming right toward you.
Okay, I thought he was going that way. That's
Whoa!
bigger boat rule.
It was an easy sail to Norman Island from Tortola. In the afternoon, we got a mooring bull and the bite. To not go into shore and have the best bushwhacker and the VI at the Pirates Bar would have been a sin. So we had to do it.
Whoa!
Cat-like reflexes. Meow, meow.
Captain Barry, what do you think? Okay, fair enough. Wow, that drink is so hot, it's smoking.
Pretty incredible.
That's where we were.
The best bushwhackers anywhere.
Look at all these lake boaters.
Full speed ahead, damn the torpedo.
What, do you want us to do something?
Spee yourselves.
Yeah.
Don't you remember your part? Don't you remember the script?
Barry, Tim, and Lori and I dinghied to the caves to look for gold, but all we found were rocks.
Is there much fish down there?
That's kind of neat.
That natural formation there.
Go down in there and see what's down there. Careful, Tim. Yeah, that'll suck you right out of there.
So this is where they're supposed to be gold.
Pirates. Hold that. Left-handed.
We made it back from the Willie T.
I'm really glad.
Mike, Tammy, and Barry went to the Woolly Tea Bar. It was slanted up to where if you put something on the table, it would slide right down. The dock was full of dinghies, too deep, and the passed out bodies in the bar were too deep as well.
Bottle.
This
relaxing, drinking tequila.
It's the law of the sea. You gotta barter.
Gal's laying there with their tops off on the dock going,
There was one guy that had 5 girls, and he had to try to get them all on the dinghy. And they
No.
We left Norman Island at 0630, rounded Carvel Rock on the westernmost part of the island, and actually turned south. South, I tell you. Bound for St. Croix. Winds were initially 15 to 20 knots, and the waves were 4 to 6 feet hitting the port forward beam.
There she is, the fearless mariner.
The crew did fairly well in these conditions, but the weather grew a bit, especially as St. John faded from view.
He's visibly shaking.
still need 20 knots. As we made our way, the wave heights reached 8 to 10 feet, and the winds built to 24 knots, which is about 27 miles an hour for you landlubbers. Anyway, the crew was getting a little green in the gills by then, except for Tim and I. We were a little too busy worrying about the autopilot slipping and the sudden bang it was making. We were thinking that the rudders were to the point of breaking off. We later learned this was relatively normal behavior for an autopilot with a weather helm. We also decided entirely too late we should have put a reef in the sail, but it was too rough to try, and to do that for the first time in these seas, well, we were just on the edge of too much sail out.
Sure don't like that.
All of a sudden, you see the misty shape of an island looming dead ahead. It was an amazing feeling. You try to connect pictures to real life, but pictures could never do justice to the real thing. What did Columbus think when he first saw this? What kind of land was this? What would he find? I felt the same way. We were very close to St. Croix. We could see the harbor at Christiansted. All of a sudden, the autopilot started making more noise than normal. The boat slowly turned into the wind, and we all of a sudden were in irons. We had no choice at that point, with the winds building, but to drop the sail and motor the rest of the way.
By the time we got in the wind shadow of the island, the wind and waves began to subside.
But we'd hauled ass down there 4 hours to Christiansted Harbor, steady as she goes.
We arrived and docked at St. Croix Marine, a working marina full of great old boats, got through customs without too much trouble, and hit the town of Christiansted for happy hour. Boy, they mix them rum and coke strong down there.
I tried to find the place, but I looked and I'm lost and I can't find it.
Oh no.
It's down here somewhere.
Really?
I don't remember where though.
Happy hour. $3 rum and cokes.
Okay, so those are our points of interest. Let's circle the rum factory. Let's just see how many things that we have.
Okay, no, some of them did. But you can see why I said.
Wait, do it again. One more time.
Okay.
Sorry. This is sunset number what? Exotic?
7.
In an exotic place.
Yes, in St. Croix.
Excellent.
Hey, Tim,
USPS.
spin it around and check that out.
It's all about boats.
I like the hoist the main on that.
Yeah.
mine?
Wife has it.
Oh. Oh, there you are.
I'm gonna start giving you a drink soon, dear.
Oh my God. That'll be the end.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I didn't play.
Well, Hotel Nikkei on Friday and Saturday nights.
Yeah.
We have Maka Jumbies on the stilts. And then Firewalkers,
Yeah.
mostly on broken Heineken glass bottles.
That is so interesting.
But we can't see it because it's Monday.
Oh.
Queen, hello! Hello! Let's all scowl at him.
Once we all woke up, we stuffed 8 people into a 7-person van that we rented and toured St. Croix. We started on the eastern end of the island and worked our way west. First, we visited Point Udall, the easternmost of the United States. It was amazing and an awesome view. It has been 21 years since I had been on the island of St. Croix. I lived there for 3 years before moving back to Nebraska. I was very excited to return to see its beauty.
The easternmost point of the United States.
It's a video camera. Why are we all standing still?
I don't know.
Okay.
Move around a little.
We ate lunch at Junie's, which served authentic Caribbean food like boiled fish, conch, lobster, stewed goat, and pork chops with greens and yams. It's been around for 30 years and it is well regarded by the locals, and definitely not a touristy place.
The highlight of our island tour was stopping at the Cruise and Rum Distillery. It's the only historic distillery still producing rum on St. Croix.
At the Cruise and Rum Factory is where all the cruising comes from, right here.
The tour was very interesting, but the best part was tasting all the different rums at the end. And it was great because our tour guide was doing the pouring.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Are you guys going to have some Cruise and Rum?
Okay.
Okay.
So this is the original. The Danish knew how to build very well. It survived the biggest reportable hurricane in 1928, and then of course, closer to my heart, it survived Hurricane Hugo in 1989. Okay, the middle one's full. Oh my God.
Got a straw.
But after 2 years, we're down about a third. And after 5 years, about half. And after 12 years, there's not much left in the barrels.
There's another leak.
Oh, you.
Of course, it's going to get everything out. If you get a barrel in a short period of time, it's going to have amber or golden color. Who's driving?
Me.
Happy vacation.
We ended the day visiting Fort Christiansted back in Christiansted, which was an historic Danish fort from the 1700s, complete with cannons still facing out to the harbor overlooking Gallows Bay. It's cool, but we didn't have a camera.
I'll go in there.
Watch the king.
Always in the dungeon.
Yeah, not me. I'm sure there's a creepy crawly living in
Any
there.
rats?
No, it's clean. It's like.
And there she goes. Nobody to see him from.
Bye.
Tammy,
Yes.
you seem awfully subdued tonight. You seem subdued.
Yeah, well, I
on my leg.
ran into a bottle of rum.
Oh.
Ran into a chum with a bottle.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did. So now I'm going to be good the rest of the trip.
No, you're not.
Stumbling. I'm not stumbling.
Not the rest of the trip. Tonight, yes.
We love St. Croix so much that we will be back again to visit. 2 days on the island just isn't enough to see all there is to see. Until we meet again, lovely St. Croix.
We completed a totally smooth trip from St. Croix to Jost van Dyke. We made good time, but not as good as on our way down because the wind and waves weren't as strong and we had a following sea. Clearing through customs was a breeze.
Red line is moving.
Hung up on something, sounds like.
Dawn breaks tender or soft blue pool. Breeze coming up, air feels so cool. When the earth is too solid beneath my feet, long for Mother Ocean to feel complete. Out there I will find the one within. Return to a life of water and wind. Sailing, sunshine, feeling free. Life is smiling on the sea. Sailing, healing, living me. Starboard tack, bound for White Bay. Wind sets my arrival for about midday. Island jewels across white-capped waves. Diamond sands in which palm trees sway. So free I float in body and mind. See jaw, feel jaw.
Like returning to
On
civilization.
sea I find. Sailing, dreaming, live day. Timeless beauty, take me away.
There's
Sailing.
snow back home, but there's no snow here.
That evening, Barry and Tim dinghied into Foxy's, which was hoppin', then strolled down the dirt road to Corsair's Beach Bar, where more than a few rums were consumed. Then they went back to Foxy's for even more rum.
sailing over the wide Atlantic Ocean today.
I can see nothing but blue water.
Blue water, no boats.
What a great sail.
Walking down the road in Jost, Van Dyke. Corsair. Just go all the way down to the end. Hi, where are you from?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania?
Yes, and we're flying tomorrow and they're having a big snowstorm.
Oh, hell.
Not happy.
God, it's been a brutal winter up north.
We probably won't get home tomorrow, darn it.
What do you want?
Painkiller.
Because
it must have worked, because I don't feel any pain.
Good job, you learned your lines. Great Harbor, Jost Van Dyke, anchor lights. Here we are at George Dog. George Dog, ready to go snorkeling.
We left Jost and went to the Dogs to do some snorkeling. We saw a variety of fish and coral, and Tim lived to tell about a 6-foot barracuda that flashed by him.
She doesn't like that.
Next, we set out for Trellis Bay to get a mooring for the full moon party the next night. Winds were a bit brisk, so we motored our way there from the Dogs. One of our guidebooks suggested that for the full moon party, it's best to get there a day in advance if you want a mooring ball. And thank goodness we did, as lots and lots of boats wished they had done the same.
I said blue. Oh, you are you? No, it's not a blue.
There's to be some freaking boats here tomorrow. It's just going to be amazing. Linda is cooking her magnificent meat.
Hopefully.
look, guys, it is closed. There's
I am not saying whether that is a full moon or not.
No, tomorrow less.
It's a.
I think I'll get a couple of bowls out for that.
It's gonna be really
We're
pretty.
here for the full moon party tomorrow.
Burning fireballs tomorrow.
We're burning fireballs tomorrow.
Yes, we are.
That night, we dinghied in for a drink at Duluth Mongoose Bar and partied with some of the locals.
What are those called?
It's hard to decide, huh?
Yeah, but I don't want to be on camera.
He doesn't want to be on your camera.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Whatever you do, don't ring that bell.
I have to ring that bell?
Don't ring it.
Huh? Don't ring it. Okay.
If you ring that bell,
I won't.
you're responsible for everybody.
Don't ring the bell, honey. We
Do
not have
not
enough
ring the bell.
Do not ring the bell.
Do not ring the bell. Thank you.
If you ring that bell,
That is called.
That's a dangerous bell.
That is called local knowledge.
Thank you for telling us that.
Local knowledge. You guys live here? I'm Tim.
Hi, Tim.
What's your name?
Basil.
Nice to meet you, man.
Your name is
Linda.
This is Linda.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Carl.
You're not the same name. You're funny.
You know what? You can just get me.
Where are you guys from?
You give me a shot of rum.
Nebraska.
Oh,
You know Nebraska? You know where that is?
No, I haven't been that far up.
That's a long ways from here.
I haven't been that far. Nebraska is freezing now.
Oh my God, it is so awful there. I'm gonna go with my friends. Hey, thank you guys. I will see you again. Good to meet you.
Peace, man. Peace out.
All right, peace and love, man. All right, good to meet you.
I know that was a rough one on the way to St. Croix. On the way back, I know.
This is all reef right here.
The day began with beachcombing and snorkeling off Sprat Point. Snorkeling off the beach is always awkward, with people looking like drunken penguins trying to get into the water. We saw a lot of starfish, some turtles there to munch on the seagrass, and explored a couple of sunken small boats with the dinghy.
Intrepid explorers return. We have mapped out the sunken ships. Nothing salvageable, however. No gold doubloons. Only black sea urchins, which meant to kill us, meant to sting us and cause us great agony.
There was an obviously abandoned boat on a mooring near ours called the Good Life that had a whole underwater habitat living under the hull. It had been that long since it had last set out to sea. We philosophized about where old boats go to die and about the fleeting moments of the good life, those glory days that need to be lived to the fullest, which we are trying our hardest to do. How will we leave our ghost of the good life behind someday?
Whatever became of the times we played and the never-ending years? Seems we had time on our side.
A lot of shifty characters here.
Later was the full moon party, which definitely lived up to its billing. Something that needs to be experienced to appreciate. Fireballs and the full moon, art meets wild abandonment of the senses, Burning Man on the beach.
See in their hands, they have little eyeballs in each hand.
Oh yeah, it's cool. Very excited to see the little things burn.
Oh, yes. I want to see everything burn.
Take a sip of that. It's Fusion rum and rum.
Look at the Burning Man over there. Burning bush.
Again, we set sail for Jost van Dyke to visit one of our favorite places, White Bay and the Soggy Dollar bar.
Coming into Great Harbor. Somebody's nice little private speedboat. That'd look nice in Branched Oak Lake. Great Harbor. Coming around the point. White Bay. And Soggy
We found a mooring ball for the 4800 and dinghied into one of the nicest beaches in the Virgin Islands. Tammy and I kayaked in after I took an unplanned dip in the ocean, and why not? The painkillers at Soggy Dollar are the best, and we needed to kill the pain of nearing the end of our charter.
Thank you, Phil.
Hola.
Lori took a little swim before we came. It was hot. I was hot.
You're supposed to.
It was great.
That's the idea.
She took off already.
Deciding to head back to the mooring space in Road Town Tortola, we enjoyed dinner together one last time as a crew, then spent the last evening talking about our favorite experiences of the trip.
Maine, they had to get out there in that stuff and reef that main. They had no choice.
Of course, they had 20, swabs that did it.
And what was your favorite part of the trip? How about St. Croix? All right. Night.
Cruising rum. John liked cruising rum factory.
That's like my butts and my stuff.
Good way to show your appreciation.
Yep. Had to make them healthy.
And Tammy, what do you say?
I would have to say sailing to St. Croix.
That was
because
very...
we did it. And it was just amazing. We crossed the second deepest part of the ocean.
That's right.
It's kind of scary.
Well, you know what my favorite spot? One of them was, remember we were up there and we saw, the silhouette of the St. Croix, and you couldn't see anything, no civilization or anything. And, I told Tim, I said, 500 years ago, when Columbus came here, that's what he would have seen.
Yeah.
What is
that was
this
very cool.
land? Is it an island? Is it a continent?
Mm-hmm.
Is it, what is this that we see there? And we saw the very same damn thing.
Except that one cell tower probably wasn't there.
Before we saw any definition of anything, it was in the mist. And here we were, sailing with our GPS and, motor assist and stuff, and they're coming in here on this, thing they can't even tack with.
That's right.
And, I went, you gotta have the highest respect. That was probably, if I had to say, the defining moment of the whole trip. And so, that's mine.
And at one point I went up to talk to the captain, one of the captains.
Not mentioning any names.
Not mentioning any names, Barry. And I said, is that normal for the steering wheel to go clunk, clunk? I said, won't that hurt our rudder, or isn't there something wrong? And he said, yes. He thought there was, but he didn't know what it was.
Nobody knows.
So I said, I'm not talking to you anymore. And I removed myself from that position up there.
Oh, by the way, Tammy, too, we're in 14,000 feet of water.
Yes, and then I talked to the other captain, that would be Tim, and said, what's our estimated arrival time? I can't figure out how to do that on the control panel. I said, I'm not talking to you either anymore. And then I just went and sat and
I said 2 hours, Tammy.
looked for St. Croix. I just wanted to see that it was going to be there.
Well, it's too bad we couldn't stop and swim.
Well, let's see, yeah, the autopilot's slipping, the wind is building.
When I saw St. Croix, I was so happy.
There it is. There it is.
Yes.
Tomorrow it's back to the cold for Barry, Tammy, Lori, and Mike, while the rest of the crew, John, Bonnie, Linda, and Tim, are heading to Virgin Gorda for a couple of days at Spanish Town.
On past trips to the Virgin Islands, we had only taxied through Spanish Town on the way to the baths on Virgin Gorda. We found some fine restaurants there and interesting sights to see. We visited the baths, a historic sugar mill, Savannah Bay, and a hidden gem, Spring Bay. Our room at Mango Bay was about 20 feet from the beach.
Oh, you can park your dinghy right there.
Of course, we spent a lot of time just sitting on a patio watching the sea and the boats sailing up and down Drake's Passage, just as we'd done a couple days earlier.
Try to look like you're not posed.
Yeah, try to act like you're not
Well, I wonder if they made it to the airport.
We toasted our shipmates that had already been forced to go back to cold Nebraska, which we knew, unfortunately, we would have to do as well soon.
For them, huh?
Just wait.
And we're still in paradise.
We're still in paradise.
Cheers, guys.
A toast to all our shipmates. Unfortunately, they can't be here with us now because we're still here in paradise.
And you're not.
And you're not. Exactly. Salute.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Is it done now?
What?
Of course, it's that.
That?
It's a terrible view to boat.
Oh, it wasn't on. We were just practicing. We were just rehearsing.
There goes our son.
Is this the end of the movie?
I don't know.
We escaped more than a week of the cold Nebraska winter 2014 for the tropical warmth of the Virgin Islands. We sailed the open ocean for the first time and visited a faraway island we'd never seen before. We returned to some of the usual places that we love and found some new experiences there at the same time. It left only one unanswered question. When can we go back?
No, it's all wrong. It's all wrong. Do it over. Do not put my name on it. Oh,